Halloween.
Forever.
Holy shit, them some big eyes, brother. Welcome to another episode of Halloween is Forever. We got another fucking Minisode ready for you on the docket here today. I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
And I'm going to throw out a spoiler alert right now. Early spoiler alert. If you didn't listen to last week's episode and you don't want it to be spoiled, shut it off now because...
You're about to fucking gloat.
Because
I'm
guess
going to punch
what?
you in the face.
Guess what? Oh, yeah. Mean Gene the Cream rises to the top. Your boy brought home the belt for the second month in a row. And if you haven't listened before, if you haven't listened to a Showdown episode or our subsequent mini episodes, it affords me all the rights and privileges of the champ. And the first order of business is to pick a film to just punish you rat bastards with. And we did it. And we watched, both of you for the first time, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yes.
for the first time,
Yes.
a little flick, a full moon feature, a little film from the year of our Lord, 1996, I believe.
What is this smut pervert?
1996's Head of the Family. And I'm sure everyone is jumping out of their seats, applauding. You might have just elbow dropped your coffee table because you're that excited about it.
I'm just going to start calling
They're
you
fucking
Poochie
doing
Buns.
it!
They're doing it. They're fucking finally doing it.
By God,
Head
they're
of the
fucking
family.
doing it.
By God, he's broken in half. By God. But yes, this is a movie that is near and dear to my heart. And last week, if you recall, after I claimed the strap at the end of last week's episode, Steve said, "All right, you bitch, what are we going to watch?" And I said, I
You
knew,
bitch.
but then I waffled and I went back and forth. The reason why is because I want to do a whole full moon features episode, a whole Charles Band full moon features episode. But then it occurred. So I was like, wait, maybe I don't want to pick this because this is up there. But then it occurred to me that if we did this, I would not be picking this movie. I'd pick, Puppet Master or Jack Frost or something like that. But this is a movie that's near and dear to my heart because me, my brother, and my cousin used to rent this thing. We probably rented it a dozen times from either Blockbuster or Eagle Video.
I'm questioning so much about your childhood.
Well, this
at
is the
point,
thing.
bud.
The imagery, imagine the box art. You can Google it, and you yins at home might be Googling it now. It's got Myron, who we're going to talk about here in a minute, blasted all over the cover. The weird big-headed dude.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you walk past that as a kid and not go, Jesus Christ?
It's
what is that?"
enticing. It is crazy.
Yeah.
I can only imagine if I would have seen that as a child, and I would have been mortified.
Yeah.
And
Because all the gratuitous sex.
well, I mean, if I would have seen the cover, is what I'm saying, Brian. Come
okay.
on, we're not talking about boobs yet or penises.
There is
okay,
no penises as far as I'm
no
concerned.
penises.
Surprisingly not.
Yeah.
This
All
was-
tits
yeah.
and ass.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I really was hoping for some dong at some point. It never came.
well, the thing is, this was directed by Charles Band.
You were
Yeah.
I know you
hoping-
were getting to it,
You're
but
hoping.
Yeah, listen. It ups the stakes. Ups the stakes.
yeah. But this was directed by Charles Band, not the other well-known full moon feature director David Duchovny.
Yes, I mean, so Charles Band. I mean, there's a formula,
Yeah.
right, to his movies, and there is oftentimes includes a lot of sexism.
Yeah.
This is top to bottom.
It's a horribly sexist, just
Like I
absolute
said,
piece
I'm
of
gonna
shit,
start calling
schlocky garbage
Poochie
flick, but I
Buns.
love it.
I made a note of that one. I was like, Poochie Buns.
Well, at least Howard is set up to be a dick from the very beginning.
Oh yeah, 100. Like I'm happy he was an eyeless drone towards the end.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that.
Yeah, and but anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. It's a fucking banger, guys.
It's really fun, actually.
It's free on Tubi.
I hate you, but I'm really happy about it.
I could have went so much worse, and I decided to do a little bit more fun one. I have a list of just absolute pieces of shit that I frankly don't want to watch again. So I was like, do I pull the trigger on this? You know what? Let's do something a little more fun, silly.
This week Brian was a benevolent champ.
I did. Last time with Uninvited,
wanted us to
although I
giggle.
maintain that Uninvited is a fucking blast. You guys have their faces, dear listener, the
I
faces
wish
that
I
I'm
could-
getting
I feel like I
right
should
now.
take a photo
Meg
of my
did
face
a
right now, and I was
squint.
like, I'm just gonna take a picture of myself right now. And be like,
Me saying Uninvited is a treat.
We'll
She-
post that
She
photo
did this
later.
squinting look into the distance like, you might be a fucking moron. Steve did a very similar look. Listen, I maintain that it's a classic. I'd say compared to Uninvited, this is a little bit more palatable. Probably.
No, this is like
Probably.
this
Oh,
is
no,
far
no.
less annoying.
Yeah, because we'll dive into it. I don't want to get too far ahead, but like I genuinely was like laughed at times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There were
Like
some laughs.
genuinely, I was like, that's actually
That's why I love
fucking
full moon
dumb and
features as a
funny.
kid.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna get some blurt laughs
Yeah.
that you're
Yeah.
gonna lulling is gonna happen with a full moon feature. And there's a little bit of creepiness, there's a little bit of gore. This one less so than most, I would say, full moon features. There's not a ton in the way of gore, really.
No.
But before we get into the movie, because we're getting ahead of ourselves, because we're so goddamn excited to talk about Head of the Family. I could just see the enthusiasm
You know
oozing
what?
out
Where
of both
my
my co-host
excitement is
eyes
coming
right now.
from?
What?
It's from getting through all these minisodes so I can kick your fucking ass again one more time.
One mini-sode closer to me fucking your life.
Inside of Meg's basement, there's a calendar like Day of the Dead, and she's crossing off.
Every day closer to the next one.
Yeah.
So our second order of business in the first mini-sode after the showdown is we've got some topics for you, and we're gonna ask our social media friends, our listeners, to go out and vote on the Instagrams and the Twitters and the social media. Sometime this week we will put it out there. We did our topic randomizer that Steve mans. We take our big giant, Meg's taking a picture of these gruesome snacks we have in front of us, which we'll talk about in a second. We took from our ever-growing list of topics and we randomly picked 3. So these are what you're going to have the opportunity to vote for our September Showdown episode. And we're pretty psyched about this because honestly, like last month's rather, we kind of all knew sitcom Halloween episodes was going to win. Like it won by a long shot, exponentially more votes than anyone else. I could see any of these 3 winning. The first one is modern slashers. So that's anything from the 2000s on, right? So like we were kind of talking about before, and Steve was like, not the first Scream, but you can hit some of the later Screams.
It's
Like
Scream 4 with Hayden Panettiere and Allison Brie.
the one that we all
Community's
remember,
good.
of course. No, so modern slashers, 2000s to present. That should be really fun if that one falls on. Second, Giallo. So obviously the Italian subgenre of masked, black-gloved, murderous whodunits and whatnots. That would be fun. I'm a fan of that
If we choose
subgenre.
that, I will come in costume in a trench coat.
Trench coat,
Yeah.
mask,
Yeah,
black
fedora.
gloves, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Key elements of a Giallo killer. And then lastly, best Child's Play. So Child's Play, Chucky, this includes reboots, remakes, anything in the universe of Child's Play. And listen,
I'm not trying to influence this here.
Yeah.
I just feel like
But you're trying to
This-
influence.
Yeah.
this.
whenever
I'm
he
an
says, I'm not
influencer.
trying to influence, what that means is get ready for me to try to influence.
I'm gonna teach all the Instagrammers here how to not influence. In a second, but influence.
The anti-influencer, Meg.
No, I'm into that one because I feel like I was telling the guys, I was like, when we chose them, I'm like, that was the series that got me into horror because I was so terrified as a child.
Me too.
That I remember watching Chucky on USA and being like, oh my God, I'm actually
We talked about this last episode,
I'm
didn't we? A little
watching
bit.
a horror movie.
Yeah. No, it was
Anyhow.
the same thing. For whatever reason, I remember, I was obsessed with Michael Myers and Halloween as a kid. And, I'd seen the first few Friday the 13th movies and all this stuff. And the first movie that really gave me nightmares and freaked me out and made me not want to walk up the stairs to my bedroom by myself was Child's Play, for
Oh
sure.
my God.
And then Scream came around and ruined my life.
Well, there you
I
go.
was-
Oh yeah, because
I
we
was-
talked about Cabbage Patch dolls and how I
Yes,
collected
I was gonna
them,
say,
and I
we
was
talked
like,
about it last
we
episode.
talked about this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I'm a Brad Dourif guy. through and through. So I would love that one too. But honestly, I could see any of these three winning. So pretty excited for what our September showdown episode will bring.
Not to influence the audience, but
Yeah.
if you want to
let's all choose our picks here.
if you want to give Steve a chance, it's got to be not the Child's Play movies.
Steve does not share Meg and I's enthusiasm for the Child Play movies.
I'm a Tiffany, so I'm going for the gold here.
I think all of these would be rad. Frankly, I'm excited. Like usually, I'm like, I hope they actually pick this one. This one, I really could go in any direction here. These are all stuff that I dig. So, well, before we get into the movie, we got a couple other quick things to touch on. First of all, what we drinking? What beers we drinking?
We need to open the cooler.
Let's
Let's
true.
Go.
We just did a quick little. Oh yeah, what is this guy, Steve?
So I got a crowler from JR's, a local distributor.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the few that actually does crowlers, but
Yeah, JR's rules. I
yeah.
got these there too.
yeah,
Today.
they're full of candy and beer, so they're great.
Well, I tried to get Necco wafers based on our last conversation, so Meg could try them. They only had cases of Necco wafers for $20. I was like, I'd rather throw myself off a bridge than give the Necco Wafer Corporation $20. Big Necco's not getting my $20.
That would also make you such an
You know
unpopular
what?
house during Halloween.
I'd be the first person in a decade that brought them in
Yeah.
I
Necco
legitimately
wafers.
going to be a wild card. You are upsetting every boomer who listens to us right now.
That's how it's like. The shelf life on Necco wafers is, I imagine, infinite.
Right.
There's nothing. There's no moisture.
Wait,
there's
is
no
it Necco
anything.
wafers or cockroaches?
If there was a if there was an apocalypse, there was a nuclear fallout. Those were the only two things I would imagine that would be left. But I went to a couple other places, couldn't find me some Necco wafers. I got some other yummy snacks we'll talk about. But JR's was where I'm at because they have big boxes of crazy weird candies and stuff. It's a pretty rad place.
If you need 5 pounds of Swedish fish, check out JR's.
Yeah.
But what they
I feel
also
like I need to go
and a
there. I know they
50-gallon drum
definitely
of
hold
cheese
my
balls.
brewery's
Yeah.
beers, so like I need to go there.
But what they also had was from Erie Brewing Company, and it was the maple apricot churro sour.
Yeah, which you guys have tasted, and I smelled it, and I haven't got to it yet, but it's actually smells pretty fucking tasty.
The name is more intense
Yeah.
than the beer. And like we talked about it prior to like tasting it, that I said like if it's gonna be weird and out there and complex, like subtlety is going to be your best friend. And I feel like the maple is way more subtle. So whether it was like maybe fermented out like through like whether well, depending on when they added it, you know, it could have definitely fermented out at some point. But like the maples, I'm barely getting it. But definitely get the apricot, definitely get some cinnamon. I get some like doughiness. I get some vanilla character. It's definitely more subtle than I was terrified when you were like, this is what it is. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Maple, I've always found is like a really hard flavor to get to come through really well. The only beer that I've had that was like strictly maple that like almost like hurt your teeth was like Omnipolo's Agamemnon.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
It's like a 12% fucking nightmare.
And it is literally like it you can like count 1, 2 before it actually hits the bottom of your glass because it's just fucking syrup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did a
Syrup.
like at the brewery at North Country, like we did this like barrel aged imperial French toast brown ale, and that was really nice because like
that's
the
what I was
maple.
gonna say. It smells like French toast crunch.
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
cereal
it was like
a little bit.
the
Maybe not as
maple
maple-y as
though.
that.
We basically the barrels that we got that we put it in were whiskey barrels that then had maple aged in them,
yeah.
and
Ooh,
then
yeah.
we got those barrels and put the beer in it.
That's like what
And so
CBS
it
does.
was-
Yeah,
it was
CBS
super
does that.
really nice. It was very nice. It was subtle. It was like, but you got the character.
Mhm.
And I think like over that aging period, that like it was so soaked into the barrel that you're just like, it's gonna stay here. But I can get like how you're saying. But I think with any sort of like back sweetening or any sort of additional sugar that you're adding, you're just like also asking for some sort of re-fermentation. So like I can see how maybe somehow the character can sometimes get lost. Is
Sure,
what I'm
okay.
saying.
I've
getting at.
done in my previous life when I was actually brewing beer for a living, did a maple bock one time where we actually messed with using fenugreek as well, as because fenugreek has a pretty strong maple flavor component to it, especially when you brew with it. So to have some of that residual maple character left over, especially from an aroma perspective, we used a little bit of fenugreek and actually went a long way, which is super fun. So little side pilot brewing
Things to
insight
learn.
How
there
to
for
brew,
all those
motherfucker. Let's
pilot
go.
brewers out, former pilot brewers out there.
I don't know all that shit. I just
I
like
actually
this
have
beer.
never heard of that like as well. So I'm
Yeah,
maybe actually-
fenugreek has is a lot of the same chemical components that make maple smell like maple are also in fenugreek, which is
okay.
pretty interesting. So like maple extracts that you buy, stuff
Okay.
like that, oftentimes have fenugreek as one of the ingredients. But
Interesting.
this is jammier than I expected. It smells
Yeah,
like
yeah.
all the things we were talking about, but there's a little bit more of the jammy, like fleshy
Citrusy,
stone fruit thing
Yeah,
going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little citrusy, but it's not overly powering, and like especially not for a sour, which is
It's so subtle. This is the thing is like, why do modern brewers have to make things sound so dramatic when like this is actually a pretty decently balanced, subtle beer?
You could have literally called it a apricot or a beer, like a churro, whatever base beer
yeah.
with apricot. Because like when we were talking about it prior, I was like, it could make sense in my brain where I'm like, yeah, churro with fruit, thinking a la mode type shit. Like,
Yeah.
churro a la mode, add
yeah.
some fruit.
That's
I'm
a-
fucking here
But
for it.
instead, you got to
But,
go like it's dessert explosion 2021. Fuck your face.
But I also being on that side of things where everything that you say on a can makes the difference.
It has to be so literal now.
It has to be so specific, but at the same time appealing. And you have to use those key fucking words
Yeah.
that people want to hear. And like, hey, sorry, spoiler alert to the beer fans out there. Yeah, we fucking just say things sometimes just to say things.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's all there, but I'm
Yeah.
like the way we say it is always just like
You
we
instead of
have
saying
to fucking
marshmallow,
think it.
say marshmallow fluff,
Right.
or
Yeah,
like some sort of
exactly.
B word
That's a good
thing.
example. That's a
Yeah.
great example because it's like how you say it and how they hear it in other breweries,
Mm.
and that are especially like even more hype than say something else. So fucking like specific. You have to
Yeah.
be very
So-
specific
so-
on what's going on.
There's a brewery, and I won't name them, but they have a series of beers that rhyme with Dorbedo. And
I
Very
passed
subtle.
up one of
Very-
those today.
Very
Honestly,
nice. Very subtle.
Yeah.
We got
The-
that. No one got that.
the
anyone in Pennsylvania,
right, yeah, right. I think they're some of the biggest criminals though when it comes to putting a whole bunch of shit on the can, and then you maybe get 2 or 3 of those flavors.
Yeah, it's like
can
spumoni,
understand.
double, triple
Yeah.
chocolate,
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Hershey's
lie, though.
fudge.
I'm kind of like, okay. When I passed the one that I saw up today,
Mhm.
I chose a blonde ale over that. I was like,
Oh,
those
that's
are-
me.
Those are two extremes.
I
Right.
went to JR's today and I walked by all that and I picked up Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest. You know,
Yeah.
Amber,
Right, which is what
Amber
you're drinking
Marson.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
well,
also me.
I was eating a cheesy beefy from Carson Street Deli, which shout out to those guys. 'Cause I fucking love
they
them.
roll. I love that. Balboa is one of my favorite sandwiches
Oh my
on the
god,
planet.
Godfather's my other go-to.
Yeah,
by the way.
but I do like how you kind of lended a bit of aristocratic flair to it. You were like, cheesy beefy. Like,
Cheesy
you had an
beefy.
underbite for a second.
Because I feel like I also always fuck it up.
What?
I always-
That was a totally different direction. Chuzza buffer. You like took it to a cartoonish
That's
level.
That's like, yeah, way West Coast. I had a Cheza Buffer.
Hey, you turned into a valley girl. Meg's having an episode. We haven't even started talking about the movie. Meg's having an episode.
Again.
I am. So we drank some Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest. I'm jumping into a little beer here, and I'll tell you exactly why I bought it. Two reasons. This is Long Yard Brewing in beautiful Kane, Pennsylvania. It's a beer called A Camp as a Cabin and has a little.
It's because you can't let go.
Yeah, because I thought, wow, this would have been a great one when we talked about summer camp slashers. Also, I saw Extra Pale Ale, and it gave me nice feelings about Summit Extra Pale Ale, which I used to drink a lot back in the day.
Oh my god, I think about Daisy Cutter Extra Pale, and I have good thoughts
Oh yeah,
about
there you
that.
go, another one.
Oh my god.
So
Also
never
really
had
fun.
this beer, don't know anything about it. Some if you want. I'm
Yeah,
gonna rinse
shout
out
out to
my
those
apricot.
guys.
Have you had Log Yard before?
I've had a couple of their beers.
I'm good at the moment.
You know, that is a really restrained, nice, spicy little pale ale.
Holy
Blonde.
shit! Yeah,
I think
no,
if I drank
fuck
that blind,
that.
I'd call it like an American blonde or something like that. But yeah, you could drink a lot of that. I think that's the
Just
idea.
I'm gonna leave a little bit so you
Yeah,
can try
yeah,
it.
leave a little bit.
Yeah,
for
I
me.
have 4
Yeah,
pack.
I
There's
could,
a bunch
I
of them.
could fuck it up.
Yeah.
No, I was saying like shout out to those guys. They stopped through North Country, definitely during the pandemic. So like we were just like mask on, but I got to know them and like we had this connection. Like their head brewer, we used to work at Rock Bottom, and I was like, cool, sweet, cool. We all know the same people, and yeah, they're brewing some really good stuff, especially in like Kane, PA. You're like,
Yeah, it's so,
I
it's
don't
so
even know where that
surprising.
is.
it's like north
Up in the Allegheny
northeast
Forest.
yeah,
Oh, really?
Allegheny Forest, yeah, like northeast.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's,
like,
it's
but from
closer to
us,
Scranton than
not
Pittsburgh, I think.
Ah,
no,
no?
it's only it's like it's really it's actually not that far. It's in like our distribution district, so
okay.
it's like from North Country. I'm trying to think, maybe like
It's definitely
less than,
closer to New York.
less than 2 hours, maybe like an hour and a half.
up near the New York border.
Yeah,
more.
near the New York border, near the
Gotcha.
Allegheny Forest, but it's just like slightly north and definitely a little bit east.
Beautiful
Yeah.
Kane, Pennsylvania. Shout out to our deep listenership in Kane, Pennsylvania. I'm sure.
Hey, maybe we can pick up a
We might
couple.
have
Yeah,
one-
this
might
is a
have one or
fun
two.
beer.
I just had a 2 times coffee stout from them.
Oh,
That
okay.
is amazing.
Nice.
Like it tastes just like black coffee. I love
Nice.
it. Love
Yeah,
it so much.
that's. I've had a couple things from them. I've been pretty pleased with, and they seem to have a lot of stuff in distribution. So I'm gonna be checking
They're
out a little
definitely
bit more of them.
Yeah, they're definitely like pretty like I think because they're in Kane,
Yeah.
it's like distribution is like the thing.
They
you
have
know what I mean?
15
Like,
local customers, and then they can send it out.
Sure.
It's
Right.
like it can only go so far, and I feel like knowing like their vibe and like seeing what they're doing, like they're not just necessarily trying to make like the local pub per se,
Yeah.
which I think could definitely be an okay thing. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I think they're trying to branch out and build a better name for themselves. So obviously, distribution in that sort of neighborhood is
Yeah.
huge.
Pretty tasty. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, I'm into
Speaking
it.
of tasty, we got a couple little snackies here too that I wanted to try before we get in. We've got a lot of orders of business we didn't realize here. So last time around, we had some spooky snacks and we had some spicy snacks, and I like that theme, especially for Halloween. So I got ourselves some spooky snacks and some spicy snacks. This one are the Franken Cup. I think is what they're called, right?
Yeah.
Reese's cups that are green on the bottom, which I'm going to take a little picky of here, and we'll give them a try. These were new last year, I think, so these were around last year. But help yourselves if you guys feel so inclined. I'm going to give it a little try.
Pale ale's really good.
Oh.
No, I got into it.
That is, yeah,
I'm
definitely
smelling
just white chocolate.
snacks with an X, by the way. I just want to let you know that this is
It makes
how
it more
this is
extreme.
Yeah.
So we're experiencing some Franken cups. I also got some spicy stuff, mostly because I couldn't find Meg Necco wafers. So I want to listen. I want to challenge her on the spicy stuff.
Yes, please, let's come after. You bought 2 things that are spicy
Yes.
that I'm very excited about.
So
I'm gonna start with the sweet though. Maybe I should save the sweet for
that's
in between.
why I went half of it instead of
Okay.
doing my whole just munch the entire Reese's cup. We've got fiery chili limon flavored Pocky chips, which some of the Pocky chips fuck you up. So I'm interested to try these.
This one
No, I'm
appears to
interested
be one less than full bore,
Yeah.
according to the back of the.
That's how I took it. So I thought it was a warm up for what we have next.
I was telling the guys too before. I was like, well, I got a nice good. This is a perfect size chip for me. That like I love like
Meg suffers from
doing,
small mouth. I don't know if you guys mentioned that she has super tiny mouth. She needs small chips.
I need small chips.
The diameter of her mouth is 1.5 inches. So
This Reese's is melting in my hands, guys. No, I
Oh, that's
fucking
not bad.
love chili lime related
Not at
things. Like if I'm going time, like, and if I see chili lime, I'm like, that's it. That's what I'm eating. You know?
it builds a little bit compared to the ghost pepper ones we talked about last time. Not even the same
Yeah.
realm.
It actually has like a little bit of like almost an Asian like spice to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
I like that. You could sit and eat a whole mess of those without them really fucking
These are
up too
actually
much.
good.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm into it.
Now the other thing.
Oh my
we
god,
have-
this is moving. The Reese's is moving. I need to eat more.
This is the other thing. As you recall, if you listened to last episode, we talked about our collective love for gas station wet meats, which is to say some sort of little package with a weird slippery meat product in it.
It's red and pickled.
Yeah. So I got the extra hot Tijuana Mama pickled sausage. And Jesus Christ, is it sexy? Look at that thing. It's just so wet. It's so slippery. Here's what really sold me on it. It says 300 Oh, okay, never mind. 300%. I thought it said 300 times.
Oh,
I'll be
okay.
honest with you. I got real excited. 300% hotter than their, I guess, regular Big Mama sausage. I don't know. I am going to crack into this. I'm going to move my mic here a little bit. I'm going to crack into this. And I did bring a knife for service. Unless one of you guys wants to Lady and the Tramp this with me.
I'm good.
I feel
Good.
like
I'm ready to Lady and Tramp this with you.
I feel like
But I also am like really appreciative of the charcuterie-esque. Like I feel like I need to now
this
have
is.
these.
I
for
mean, I'm not a professional charcuterie board maker, but I think that I have a chance based on what you're looking at here. So I'm going to try one of these bad boys. I'm going to smell it first. It smells like a pickled sausage. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I used to eat a shitload of these when I was working for a delivery service. I used to deliver auto parts, so I ate a lot of sheets and a lot of gas station food, and just especially late at night and early in the morning. And sometimes you just need something like that that'll just like, I don't know, pop you. And
Yeah. Holy moly. I'm not going to lie. That's fucking delicious, first of all. And it's not fuck your life up spicy, but it's legit.
Oh, okay.
It's
Ew.
legit.
Then I might
like,
have to get some.
I like that. I like
I
that.
am going to fuck this up in a second.
Ooh. That's nice. Look, and I'm gonna follow it with this here remaining Reese's cup, just to be a straight garbage person. That is not a good combination.
I'm going with
The
an
Reese's
N.
cup with that.
Yeah, pickled peanut butter, great.
No. I do like peanut butter and pickle sandwiches, so I thought that might be nice. but
This,
no,
is
it's
some,
bad.
this is some
Terrible.
hot shit.
Meg's having problems.
Meg didn't even eat the whole thing.
Her she took a bite and her posture changed immediately. She was like, things are getting serious.
She had to put her phone down. She had to start like
She put her phone down.
gabbing
eating
for
the last
sweat.
She's
She's
changing colors on a scale of, but she's committing. She's licking her fingers.
No, I'm a Tijuana mama at heart. like I
I am a Tijuana mama.
when I go to the gas station,
Your
this
face is
guy-
saying one thing, and your eyes are saying something else. Your face is smiling and laughing. Your eyes are saying, "Help me."
This
Yeah.
is really hot. It's really hot. I don't love it.
I'm a Tijuana mama. I don't love it.
Oh my god, she's like Spider-Man. She got bit by a Tijuana mama and she
Yeah.
got turned into a Tijuana mama, but she doesn't love it. It's a blessing as well as a curse.
I don't love it.
Her face.
I am one of those people who goes to the gas station and I always go for these pickled wieners. Like, 'cause I'm a wiener lady. We
Yeah,
know this.
They're delicious.
We understand this now. So that though was
Well, it's
a
300
lot.
times or 300%
No, at
spicier
the
than your
same
normal
time-
fare.
Yeah,
as hot as it was. I want more of the pickle. Like I,
it was
want,
good.
I want
It was
another
good.
one.
I'm gonna cut these into smaller pieces so we can share as
I might
we
still
see fit. If you start to fall asleep during the discussion of Head of the Family, apparently we are going to talk about a movie tonight. I promise. You could jump. Look, she's going back in. She's a glutton for punishment.
She really
I
needed
said,
the end
like,
piece.
The
Yeah.
pickle aspect is so good.
I know that the acidity, the tanginess, boy, of that Tijuana.
my
I mean,
mama.
it goes really good with that beer.
And
too,
I'm
so-
trying. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
it
love
does.
hot shit, you know?
All right, we've got all the topic picking, the beer talk, the wet meat talk out of the way. Let's get into this damn movie.
Hell yeah.
So, Head of the Family, like I said, full moon feature, directed by the great Charles Band. Man who's responsible for an enormous amount of movies under the Full Moon banner. Won't talk too much about it because we'll probably do a Full Moon episode at some point. But suffice to say, man, if you were around the late 80s through really today, right, they're still cranking out movies. He is just one of the all-time kings of low budget horror. Meg is
Yeah.
seeing double.
No, I was like, I'm.
She just did one of those cartoon, like,
was like,
rub your
I
eyes and
need
go,
to
whoa.
rub my eyes because my eyes are
Got some
like,
real
it's
Wheeler
really
eyes going at the
hot.
moment.
Yeah, she's Wheeler
I'm
right
like
now
getting
from this
warm.
movie.
Does anyone have a fan? Can I get a fan?
Let's just go outside and just run through the sprinkler, or take a dip in the pool. But yeah, so we were talking about it. It seemed to me, for whatever reason, friends that I talked to who are into horror, you either grew up a full moon, who are around my age, so I'm mid 30s, right? We're all in the same ballpark here. You either grew up a full moon fan or a trauma fan. Steve, you were both. You mentioned.
Yeah, I was both and a Roger Corman kid. So
Yeah.
like I did everything and Godzilla. So I don't know. My head was full of garbage by the time I was 15.
Yeah,
It didn't matter.
I don't know why. Like it was. So this movie, Jack Frost. Those were two of the first movies, and then some Roger Corman stuff as well. I don't know, Roger Corman, did he do Blackula? That's not Roger Corman?
I don't think so.
No.
No, I think that's just kind of an independent exploitation.
Because I remember like some of those 70s era exploitation films, as well as like 90s full moon features. That was for me a big like intro into low budget horror. Because
the Corman that would have hit with us is Carnosaur.
Oh yeah, so that was on my radar way later.
Yeah,
way later. So in any case, I was definitely. Not only because they were at the local Blockbuster, but for whatever reason, some of my friends had some of these on VHS. So it was like, this was like the sleepover, you're going to drink too much Mountain Dew, play GoldenEye, and then fall asleep to a full moon feature. So this is one that I remember really early on. And then my brother, my cousin, and I ended up renting this a million times after that and still quote it to this day. If I text my brother, my cousin, holy shit, you got some big eyes, brother, they will immediately know what I'm talking about. This was one of the ones we rented, initially because of the box art, and then kind of fell in love with. So, I love right off the bat, goofy, spooky string music right off the bat during the credits sequence.
I know. I made a note about that it was super fun. But like you could feel this mischievousness is like my
mischievous is a great word.
Yeah.
It literally starts like a Dollar General Addams Family.
Yes, because you're seeing this big Victorian house,
right?
And then you have this
whimsical. It's whimsical but spooky,
but also like suction cup Foley sounds.
Yeah,
like this Foley work in the back has a bunch of like weird suction cup noises.
Yeah.
And some definitely some washboard going on in there. It's just really, really bizarre. And you can tell you're in for something weird and goofy and potentially pretty spooky. So I kind of forgot how cool that music was at the beginning. But you immediately see these three kind of like dead-eyed weirdos coming out of the house.
I immediately wrote a note being like, I was like, these characters are like a stoic House of a Thousand Corpses vibe. Yeah. I was like, if Rob Zombie was like from Kentucky, but also from outer space, like that was immediately what was going on in my mind.
Yeah, one of them's even named Otis.
What?
Yeah.
Because Otis Driftwood was Bill Moseley.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, and then my other comment was like, I don't know if there, like, obviously you're kind of mentioning there might be some weird connection. Like the connection between the idea of Otis, like this name Otis. I'm like, why does every spooky film have a fucking weird older brother named Otis?
Yeah,
it is. It's super good.
But he's not really a hillbilly here. He's kind
not,
of a weird
but they are
Southern blue blood to
Yeah.
a certain extent. But
the pretty girls.
In any case, you see these three who you find out to be what you think are triplets at the time, or siblings in some capacity. There's Otis, who's this big, like, hulking guy. You see
He-Man.
Yeah.
He is literally
he's got the hair,
He-Man.
too.
He's got the He-Man hair.
Yeah. He's like He-Man that's, like, has some sort of, like, chromosomal problem.
He looks like if the director Neil Breen turned into the Hulk. If Neil Breen turned into the Hulk, he would look like Otis.
You're very much right. That's great. I was trying to think what he looks like. That's way better than what I came up with. And then you see Wheeler. Wheeler, you don't know anything about him yet. So I won't really, he has sunglasses on. Again, they're all very, very quiet. And then, of course, you see the third sibling, which you don't know their name yet, but her name's Ernestina. And she's like very like what you would expect from, not to be derogatory, but like mid-90s porn star kind of look to her. Yes. And she's definitely putting that out there. That's kind of her role. And they're coming out of this Victorian house, right? So immediately you cut, that's all you know. You don't see anything else. They don't say a word. And you immediately cut to this diner. And you start to get to know the rest of the cast of characters. So Howard, right off the bat, he's established as this local kind of badass criminal asshole that everyone hates but is also scared of. And then you see his wife, are they married?
Yeah, they're married.
Are they
I was gonna
married?
say they
Okay.
suggest it. Loretta is her name.
Yeah, I had a comment about Howard because, like, one of his early comments was that he
I have this written.
was a big old turd in a small toilet,
Yeah.
which instantly made me feel like if I ever feel like a little fish in a big or a big fish in a little pond or something, I'm like, that's the phrasing I'm going to use from now
That
on.
is how eloquent
Like,
Howard is.
Like 110% is like the best.
Yeah, he's talking to Susie, who's the waitress at the diner, and he says, "You know, Susie, sometimes I feel like a big old turd in a small toilet." He's quite an eloquent guy. So immediately he starts kind of insulting his wife Loretta, you know, calling her all these like cutesy, but at the same time very derogatory, mean names,
He
and
went
saying,
after her weight real fast. And I
yeah,
was
saying
lot.
like you're
a
eating
lot. He's
too
like,
much.
You're fat. I'm like, fuck you.
They establish him as he is an absolute prick. You are meant to hate this guy right
you
off
hate
the
that.
bat.
He's a drug dealer, an extortionist, violent, and also has real right-wing tendencies towards women.
Yes.
And that he respects fidelity of marriage, but also you're fat and shut up.
Good
Right.
point.
Well,
Very
he
good
also
point.
like I feel like I don't know if you're gonna like even touch on this, but like the next thing she's like, I need to go to the bathroom. And he's like, oh, what are you gonna do there? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, dude, you literally just called yourself like a big turd in a little
Yeah, he's
toilet.
like, don't talk. Why don't you
Like,
tell everyone?
Why
or
you need
whatever.
to shut the fuck
Well,
up?
Yeah.
And on that same vein, he also corrects her for swearing.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Watch
like
your mouth.
she
Yes.
can't swear, she can't talk about bathroom stuff, but he's like threatening people and calling himself a turd
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
loudly in a public
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, just an
We
absolute
hate him.
irredeemable prick.
We all hate
Most
him.
unlikable
I'm gonna
person
talk for
immediately.
everyone here and say we hate him.
Yeah, Howard's a prick. You're definitely like set up like Howard's a prick. Everyone hates him. That's going to come back around, right? Then the stack pools, you come to learn, those three folks that we saw in the opening scene, they walk in and the whole town kind of gawks at them. You know, they are absolutely the kind of the local weirdos that everyone is, whispering about and staring at. They're almost like kind of zombies to a certain extent, where they just kind of like walk wide-eyed, slack-jawed until they walk up and Wheeler just says to them, groceries. And then they kind of this is obviously a normal occurrence. Howard kind of further established himself as an absolute and total dickweed by referring to Ernestina in an incredibly derogatory manner. I didn't write down what he said, but he not only used some pretty inappropriate language about people with learning disabilities and things like that, but also, just an absolute prick.
He definitely established that he wanted to bang her in the same. I was just like, your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your wife.
There's a big old double standard in Howard's
Oh,
world.
every
That's for
ounce.
sure. So Lance, he's the proprietor of this diner. So he explains, kind of in a discussion with Howard, like, hey, you got to go through Otis, who's the big guy to get to Ernestina. Howard, kind of fronts like, hey, you don't think I'll fight that big lug or whatever. And he's obviously scared of him. Kind of everybody is. So, we talked about Loretta goes to the bathroom and they have this exchange, but instead of going to the bathroom, you find out she's kind of rendezvousing in the back room with Lance. And this is a reoccurring thing. They're going to the bone
Always.
zone immediately.
Yeah.
all the time.
And they're doing this. This is a
forever.
reoccurring thing where they're constantly boning, and then having just like full on conversations
Oh,
as they're
I
happening.
don't think I've ever banged someone and had those type of in-depth conversations in any way, shape, or form.
The first
At
one,
all.
No,
Like-
but it's a great way to advance the plot of your
It
boring
really
movie.
is. It's like you have so much exposition while this is happening, and it seems like oddly natural, even though it's the most unnatural conversation in the world, like mid coitus.
Yeah.
But
This might be a good experiment, though.
Yeah, it's a,
this is how you test a significant other. If they can't have just a full blown conversation, then they're not
Can
for
you
you.
stay horny while talking about going to pick up the kids?
Well, at first they're like definitely doing this kind of like role playing. I would
Yeah.
assume it's like kind of a Gone with the Wind thing because he's calling her Scarlet,
right.
and it's this kind of weird role playing thing. But later on, they're just having like debates
Right.
about what they're going to do in the the
They're
rest
plotting,
of the
they're
movie.
planning.
Right. So pretty quickly, they're doing this whole like dirty talk thing. This Gone with the Wind, he keeps calling her Scarlet, or she wants him to call her Scarlet, whatever. And then Howard immediately, he's kind of getting like impatient. The other thing you quickly realize is Lance kind of gets off on her talking shit on Howard.
Yeah.
And they are loud as hell.
Yeah.
They're screaming. But of course, Howard is dumb as fuck and is like so assured in his persona that she would never ever cheat on him,
Oh, yeah.
Right.
kind of thing. So he doesn't suspect anything, although they're worried that that's the case. So Howard like asks to see Lance, and they're like, "Oh God, is this it? Like, does he know?" kind of thing. But then it's just based because Howard's sitting in a booth in his restaurant cleaning a handgun or assembling a handgun,
Yeah.
which is a red flag. If a customer is doing that in your establishment, you should immediately ask them to leave. But so
That's just Howard, though.
yeah, it's just Howard just assembling
Howard
a
things.
handgun, eating some cottage cheese or whatever in the diner.
I see that all the time in Butler County, like,
That is they call that the Butler County appetizer for that reason. Butler County breadstick. It's a 9mm.
Butler County breadstick. Oh my god.
But so he has this kind of proposition for Lance. He essentially he's running an extortion racket, right? So he wants Lance to be his partner, but all he's doing is like basically saying,
Yeah.
"You pay me protection money and fuck off."
It's not even protection money. It's just pay me or else.
It's just extortion.
Like,
yeah, it's
protection
yeah, you're right.
money is like, we'll protect you from other gangs.
There's
no
one
other
else.
gangs.
It's just
Yeah,
Howard.
there's no
Howard.
threat that we
Yeah.
see at all.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So fast forward, Loretta and Lance are kind of banging in the back of his car as they are plotting Howard's murder, which is like pretty dark. They play
Yeah.
everything very much as like a joke, but they're talking about how they're going to murder her husband while banging.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty dark. But everything really throughout the balance of the movie is played in this very like almost lighthearted, almost to a point where it feels like there's no consequences, like a dreamlike kind of
Again,
thing.
it's the whimsy music.
Yes, that's
I'm so curious about your perspective from when apparently you saw this as a younger person.
Yeah, I was probably
to
10.
now. I was like, how did you see this then to now? And you're like, I get this.
I mean,
thing.
it obviously completely fucked up and skewed the first 15 years of my sexual history. No, I'm just kidding. But it definitely was like, as a kid, you're not really thinking how ridiculous it
Sure,
is. You're just
sure.
like, this is a ridiculous movie. This is how it happens. Like, you're not
Yeah.
picking it apart or anything like that. And also, when you're 10, you're kind of like, maybe adults do act like this. You don't really know for sure.
Maybe they bang a lot.
Yeah,
Like,
the only time,
no.
like, this was the closest thing, maybe I probably stole a Playboy from my my uncle's garage maybe before this, but this was about the first time I saw like what is the equivalent of like softcore pornography
Yeah.
in this movie.
This is pretty hardcore. I feel
Yeah,
like, for
I
that
mean, there's
time.
no. Listen, I didn't want to get into this, but there's no penetration, so
Right.
it's not hardcore.
But there is some Merkin work, so
some work. I love it. That is a beer name. That is a band name. That's an album name. TM. Halloween is Forever. TM. Merkin work. Yeah. So they kind of get a look while doing this. They're in the car. They get a look of what the Stackpole's scheme is, which is they pull this fence across the road. And it has a sign kind of suggesting there's a detour. Unexpected drivers go off there. They get pulled up to the Stackpole's house, probably ask for directions. They assault them, beat them up, capture them, do whatever, take them into the Stackpole's house for their experiments. So this guy in the pickup truck kind of falls victim to that. The quote I wrote down that Lance I thought was pretty good is, "That's some sort of weird bullshit." That's what that is. When he says something to
which
Loretta.
is so like. Here's the thing: that fence, it doesn't even go across the entirety of the road.
No, you could go around it.
You could literally see like part of the road and that the road continues, and it wasn't even like construction signs.
Yeah.
It was just a fence with ivy and then a little arrow.
Yeah.
Lance
was
has, Lance has these interesting quotes, I feel like, throughout the entire movie where he like almost pauses in a moment like to like think about it and then just says the most ridiculous thing that you're like, no, you could have said this and that would have totally made way more sense.
He's
but
oddly
you're like
overly descriptive.
yeah,
But it's
yeah.
kind of, I don't know why I love the dialogue in this movie. It's
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
weird.
I feel like that's what keeps you like. That's where I'm talking about the humor. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's where it comes from.
It's very
like,
unnatural. It almost
so
feels
awkward.
like a Laurel and Hardy type, or not Laurel and Hardy, Abbott and Costello
Yeah.
type of way of talking
Yeah.
to each other. I don't know why. It just like kind of struck that chord for me.
It also has like you could take out the parts of this
I'll
film.
eat this wet meat. Hold on.
while Brian eats his wet meat, you could
Do you want to hear me like? No,
people don't like that.
Okay, fine.
But you could take the parts of the plotting of like the murder plot and the lawyer double crosses and things like that. You could remove that from the sci-fi horror element of this film, and like just put it in any other normal film of like extortion and plotting and murder.
Yeah.
So that's why it comes across as just like this small scale, like it's weird.
Small town drama
Yeah, it's
kind of
small town
mystery
drama.
thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it definitely feels like it could have been like a TV episode in that like this is just one of the things the Stackpoles had to deal with. Yeah. Like it like this is their
This could have been an episode to a series.
right.
Yeah,
this
that
is their
stars the
villain.
Stackpole.
This is their villain of the week of double crossing Lance and his like con man schemes.
Yeah, it definitely that's a great point. It feels like a weird little kind of 90s sitcom episode or
Yeah.
something like that. But it's like kind of oddly well written. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like the
I
story just holds up.
it does.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. It's a little convoluted.
Yeah.
But it does hold up,
Especially at the end. It starts to get a little but I agree.
It's so bizarrely well written for like soft core porn
And like believable in a
Yeah.
strange way.
yeah because again it's all small scale like
Yeah.
everything that Lance does it's the stuff that the Stackpoles are into of like trying to drill out people's brains and
Yeah.
make mind controlled zombies and things like that. That's but that's not the main part. That's not the main story.
It's just
No.
a small town drama.
yeah
Small town drama, guys.
small town hillbilly con man shit that's like okay yeah
So just to kind of elaborate on that, what he does is he sees this motorist gets murdered, realizes that this is a thing the Stackpoles do, and he comes up with this idea of, hey, he's gonna blackmail the Stackpoles, and he could have got back into the car and immediately like blabbed his whole plan to Loretta, but he kind of like keeps it. I don't know, just a weird, odd level of restraint for a movie like this. The first thing you hear when this like motorist or whatever is kind of being abducted, and you fast forward to or you jump cut to this basement, and it's like a weird dungeon full of victims who have obviously fallen victim to this ploy that the Stackpoles have. And they're all kind of alive, but they're kind of like seem to have been lobotomized in some capacity. There's a woman who is just repeating the word snow over and over again. And you hear this off-screen voice mention the fact that I've done this. Don't worry, I've done this many times or whatever. So Lance is very much kind of walking on air the next day. He's feeling very cocky. He's got his like pearl button shirt on. He's got this foolproof plan, and he approaches the Stackpoles in town. They just say, fuck off, ignore him. He just completely blabs the whole blackmail scheme to them right on the street, and basically says like, we're gonna have to talk about this eventually, you bastards, kind of thing. Cut to Lance in what looks like a motel room bed that if you put a quarter in it would vibrate, kind of thing, wearing blue silk pajamas, and Otis just walks in his room like it's a fucking dorm room. Like, hey, what's up? Walks in a room, snatches his
He always
ass
has
up.
that vibe. Like, he's just here to party all the time.
Yeah, I'm just walking in. You left it open. I'm coming in to party. So Otis snatches his ass up, takes him to the Stackpoles' house. And this is where the quote of the movie happens. He walks in. He becomes acquainted with the Stackpole siblings, the first three that you've already seen. Wheeler, who has had sunglasses on up until this point, turns around. He's got these giant prosthetic bulging eyeballs.
Oh, yeah. Super good.
And that's where you get the, holy shit, them some big eyes, brother. And that's my favorite quote of the whole
That's how
fucking
Hulk
movie.
Hogan was born. He heard brother, and he's like,
The character is based on this movie. I've heard that. But yeah, so great. So then he gets introduced to the fourth Stackpole sibling. They're quadruplets. You find out his name's Myron. He's basically a giant head with tiny arms in a wheelchair. You learn that he's basically, he's controlled. He controls his siblings telepathically. It literally controls their body. So it's like one brain, 4 bodies kind of thing. And he describes that, Otis is super strong. Wheeler has crazy senses, sight, smell, and hearing. And then they never really explicitly say, but Ernestina, you come to realize she has some sort of like intoxicating like sex appeal kind of thing, that she's irresistible, but they never really explain it. He's always like very vague about it. He doesn't really spell it out. But so Myron's brain can control them. Lance does this whole really entertaining hypothetical explanation that suppose that a guy saw something happen. He kind of takes this very like coy approach to it, and Myron is getting more and more pissed when he realizes that he's kind of got him over a barrel. So he talks about how he brought up a random lawyer, called him, wrote him a letter, said that if anything happens to me, I'm going to check in periodically. And if that doesn't happen on schedule, every day, week, whatever, you're going to send this letter off to the state attorney's office that explains what the Stackpoles are doing. In exchange for his silence, he wants him to kill Howard. So blackmailing him into killing Loretta's husband.
Yeah.
It's just like oddly well thought out. Yeah. And you find yourself sympathizing with Myron right off the bat a little bit.
A little bit.
Like, what do you do? How are you going to catch it? And you realize there's plenty of holes to be, brought up in this, but just like Lance is so confident in his explanation. And up to this point, you thought he was an absolute dumbass pushover. So you're kind of like impressed by it, but it's such a strange exchange. Myron explains, he does brain surgery experiments. He's looking for a body to put his brain in, which that's the only thing that never really comes around.
No, not at all.
Which again is why it feels more like a series.
Yeah.
Because like that would be like the long running thing within the series that Myron's always trying to put his brain in, like, find things for his family to just be normal.
And he actually explains, like, I'm looking for a body that can deal with my intellect or whatever.
Yeah.
But then nothing ever happens apart from just like, experiments are insinuated.
Well, I almost feel like it has this like emotional aspect. Yes, leave it to Mike to bring emotions into the world.
I love your impression of yourself. I'm Meg.
But I feel like I almost like even you hearing in some kind of conversation where I think like Myron like always has this battle between wanting to have this like love, and he like loves his life and loves who he is. Also, he like understands the destruction of things and how he knows he needs to like to keep the family together and to like keep the name going. He needs to have his brain moved. You know what I mean?
Is there a novel of this that I'm not aware of?
No, but I almost like I feel like these.
It's like a 6-part YA series.
I'm like reading between lines on things, where I'm like, I almost get this vibe that it's like he doesn't ever want to do it because A's probably a narcissist. Let's be real.
Well, but also he is kind of just like kind of trying to keep the status quo a little bit, like his quality of life, and he's been dealt a weird hand and all that
like,
stuff.
But I think like when you have that dichotomy of like him going back and forth between like the love aspect that he does, like he talks about, he's like, oh, I just wanted someone to love me, blah blah, and like going back, he's like he see there's like that balance where if you never can get to the right place where the right thing happens, the right thing's never going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
I love the character, the in-depth character assessment on Myron. No, that's fantastic.
But that's how you felt about him.
He is like an oddly sympathetic character in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like Lance and him, it's like a battle of wits almost. Like there's no clear good guy versus bad guy. It's very ambiguous.
Well, everybody's unlikable.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Like
even Loretta, she's
Howard,
super opportunistic.
Super opportunistic. Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah. Like Howard is the most unlikable because he's a legit violent criminal that's like, taking over a town.
And they suggest a murderer too.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. He most definitely is probably.
So yeah, he's the most unlikable, but then everybody else is
Does he
still
have a motorcycle?
Because
he seems like a guy that's
yes, they even say, is that the boy who rides the Harley around town? Like Myron says something like that. But yeah, so again, another full conversation while fucking. Lance explains he's going to go through with it, right? He's got a plan. He's going to take care of Howard, make sure Loretta has an alibi. So the next night, Ernest incredibly simply Myron uses Ernestina to lure Howard to Otis, and Otis just snatches his ass up. I mean, the whole thing takes 20 seconds.
Yeah.
You think it'd be a little bit more climactic, but not necessarily. Myron calls Lance to confirm it's been taken care of. I do love the weird zoom effect at that point on Myron. That's like one of my favorite scenes. But Lance explains to Loretta what happened, and he talks about this is just phase one. He's going to get greedy. He's going to start the one of my favorite things. He's talking about how he's going to now take it to phase two, which means he's going to extort the Stackpoles for money. And he's like, they got all, they're rich, blah, blah, blah. They got the oil, gas, coal, all that flammable shit. I love that quote. Like in one moment, Lance is an absolute dumbass, and another quote, he's like a criminal mastermind or like blackmail mastermind. So
he's like the most street smart hillbilly.
Yes,
all it
he's
is.
Very
it's just
street
like,
smart.
Like he gets it, but he just, I don't know. He's too stupid to really
and
excel.
the way he verbalizes it is so like just charmingly like kind of white trash. But
I had to look it up, but I also have in my notes again. He's the Dollar General Sawyer from Lost.
Okay. I've only seen a couple episodes. I know who Sawyer is, but
and just for anybody who remembers that character, he looks so much like him. I had to look up. I was like, is this like his first role? Like, how old is that guy? I thought he was...
went from Full Moon Features to the number one show on TV.
That we all still hate today. Thank you. Thank you, Lost. We are all still upset about this.
The wounds are still fresh. So long story short, Lance kind of explains to Myron how he's going to do blackmail round 2, and he wants money from them. This goes on for some indeterminate amount of time, but Lance is getting really cocky. Myron kind of vows to catch Lance when he slips up. So he sends Wheeler to basically, spy on him. Mm-hmm. But he's just standing in the alley hearing Lance and Loretta. He now knows that, why he wanted to get rid of Howard, that they're in a relationship. And here's Lance's password with his lawyer, which he calls them up and says, this is just me checking in. And he's like, how does he say? He's like, what was the name of your mother's dog or whatever? He's like, the name of that dog is like, he explains the whole thing.
It goes like, it's such a perfect.
The name of that dog, which is my password, is Ernest P. Resley. And then of course, Myron hears it through Wheeler, and he's like, I got the son of a bitch. Then there's a real unnecessary scene of Ernest feeding Myron soup.
Yeah.
He's like slurping up the soup.
No,
it's real
I think
gross.
It definitely was necessary. It's
necessary to show how infirm he is and how in need of a real body.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true. I was going to say necessary to see how much he likes soup.
Legit though, you know what I'm looking for in my future husband is someone who will feed me soup like that.
I was going to say someone who just really appreciates a good bowl of soup. That's extremely important to me.
That will feed it to me.
Also, he really
really what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Also, he really enjoys puns. He really enjoyed that Elvis P. Resley.
He did. He chuckled. He liked it.
He's like, haha, I get it.
I get that reference. So Otis and Wheeler, they hear the name of the lawyer. They're off and running. They go to the lawyer's office. Otis delivers an equivalent punch as Mike from Uninvited to the receptionist in the office of the lawyer.
And also looks a little bit like George Kennedy, but
he does. Yeah. He has the same body build.
Yeah, a little bit.
But like imagine Otis 20 years later. Right. That's Mike. He turns out to be Mike. I assume this is all one big cinematic universe. Otis, this is when you first see Otis has a soft spot for pretty ladies. Like you start to see like this is going to come back around. This is going to be his Myron's Achilles heel to some extent. He does a scene where he breaks the lawyer's fingers until he gives him the letter and then demands copies and breaks his fingers until they're content that there is no more copies, then just snaps his neck. Yeah. Which is fairly brutal, I thought. Like there was nothing like that up until that, but that's not true. There were zombies in the basement and whatever.
Yeah,
but
there was weird lobotomy victims. But
yeah, you just didn't expect them to just snap the lawyer's neck in the middle of his office.
Right.
for not no reason, but you get the idea.
Not no reason.
It wasn't not no reason. More mid-coitus pillow talk, with Lance and Loretta. Lance proposes to her.
I'm just wondering,
yada,
like,
yada.
do they literally not talk outside of sex? Because I mean,
No.
like,
No, they
like
literally
having-
can't be around each other for 5 seconds without fucking. So all
Yeah.
conversation has to happen while. Do you think they eat full meals while fucking
I-
do? I feel like
people just like bring them each course. Like, I'm here for this. Like,
Yeah.
I
imagine
actually,
them just, like, eating
I'm
TV
here for
dinners.
this. I'm here for this.
Myron, calls Lance, tells him to
She was
expect a
sour.
delivery tonight. And it's Ernestina. She comes in. She pops her top off pretty quick, licks his feet weirdly for a couple of seconds. It gets a little awkward.
I mean, for the lack of dong, she has nice boobs. Like, I mean, I have to judge
Yeah,
something.
yeah. There's no wiener. You kind of think at this point there might be a full on kind of sex scene, but it's pretty tame. They stay
It's
very
super
soft
tame.
core with it. But anyway, so they start boning.
Except for her. Except for Loretta. Like, she gets
Yeah, well,
naked.
you do get full frontal,
Like, all- like,
with
all-
Loretta. But so Otis just kind of comes in mid coitus and slugs him.
It's a great shot
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
because she's on his lap.
Yeah, it's camera tilted up at Loretta or at Ernestina on top, and then she kind of leans down like she's going to kiss Lance, and you're in the POV of Lance. So as she comes down, Otis is behind her,
Yeah.
and then Otis punches the camera.
The
She
fist
almost,
comes
like-
right through.
Yeah.
It's
But
a
she
good
almost
shot.
like looks like upset throughout it though. Like if I like I
as well she should, and so I wanted to take a little pause at this scene
yeah.
because previously we've already established that Myron is in control of all his siblings.
Oh yeah.
And
Right.
this is and
Some
like,
weird implications here.
there's a weird implication that he mind controls his hot sister to do sexy things. And so he's already told Lance this. So when Ernestina starts coming on to Lance and starts doing sexual things with him, why did Lance not remember that and go, oh, wait, that big head
Do you
is in
want me to
control
answer
right
that
now?
question? Do you legit want me to answer that question?
I think there's something. So I came to realize, like at this point, I was like, okay, it's because at this point I was under the impression her level of sexual prowess, the pheromones or whatever,
So, like,
is
poison ivy?
supernatural. Yeah, it
Okay.
to
is.
this
But
point,
later-
my assumption was that dudes are dumb and they don't remember anything.
Well, that ultimately
okay,
ends up
I am
being the
definitely
case, I
putting
think.
myself in a corner right now.
No,
Go
you
on.
are 100% right. And later, Lance proves your theory correct. Because at this moment, you're like, oh no, it's some supernatural thing. He can't control it.
Yeah.
But then later, which we'll get to, after Myron is already dead or incapacitated, he still falls for Ernestina again.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah,
ultimately,
yeah.
it is his demise. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
But so Otis abducts Loretta as well, and you get again another glimpse of Otis has a soft spot for Loretta. So now they cut to Stackpole's basement dungeon. Lance is hanging upside down. Loretta is there as well. Lance explains that, hey, there's a second lawyer, and he's very confident. He doesn't care. He's upside down on a kind of torture slab, and he doesn't give a shit because he thinks he still has Myron by the curlies, right? So Myron says he's going to torture him until he gets the other lawyer's name, and Lance just says, I'm just going to not tell you. You know what I mean? So kill me if you have to, whatever, but I'm not going to tell you. It's my only bargaining chip. And Loretta tries to play the I'm attracted to big brains card, and Myron seems to fall for it for a while. And I noticed the more Myron falls for it, the more his southern accent comes out.
Oh,
Did you
yeah.
notice that?
I never felt like he was falling for it at one point. It all sounded so sarcastic to me.
I was ready for him to go JKFU,
Yeah.
but then he kind of doesn't. I still don't know
but
whether
this
he
is-
was
this is
legit.
where
does. He
that
totally
that
does.
Yeah.
moment was when I was having that, like, he has this internal conflict. Let's talk about emotions, y'all. Let's fucking do it. No, this is where I saw the dichotomy is like where he could possibly fall for someone that like made him feel because he was lacking with his wife, which is what we then fucking learn that he like has apparently she's a weather girl. Okay, go on. You'll go on to that. But no.
Wait, what?
What?
What he's like, oh, so and so
What
keeps
weather
saying
girl?
snow.
Oh no!
That was just a victim.
That's just a victim.
Oh,
That was not a wife. That
Did
was a
I
victim.
fucking missed that fucking thing.
You didn't miss anything. You made a
Apparently,
connection.
I made a connection. I made shit
Meg
up.
inserts a whole sub story that didn't actually happen.
Maybe Meg was reading the novel.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Because
what
I
I'm
feel
saying.
like in that whole conversation he had, like that was shortly after. So I
Well,
like
he
I
was
feel
saying
like I
that
don't know
she
why.
was his main actress.
Yeah.
In his little shows he
maybe
puts
that's
on.
where when I like okay.
But he
Blah, blah, blah.
said the reason he's going to insert Loretta into his plays now is because his main actress previously,
Yeah.
she just kind of went catatonic and started seeing
Yeah.
snow over and over and over again. And one of them, I think Lance makes a joke about
he
maybe
makes
she
it
was a
thing,
weather
but-
girl or
that's
whatever.
Right, like, yeah, okay.
Somebody played Informer
but,
for
like,
her.
I feel
and
like, but anywho, leading like okay, well that was I know that was after the
That's-
fact. So like, but
That's
that moment when
fanfic that you are working on your own time.
guys, trademark. Stop. Let's stop talking about this.
Stop spoiling my big release.
No, but that was where I had the thought that like in that conversation, that's where I was just like, he's like, oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe. And then he's like, no, never mind. You're going to meet your demise. I'm going to fucking kill you,
Well,
bitch.
he also does, in the most disturbing scene in the movie, grows a big, giant, long tongue and licks, I don't know how else the delicate way to say it,
There is no
licks
way.
Loretta's nipple
Just
with his
it's
big...
not just her
It's
nipple.
the
That's
entire...
yeah.
It's literally like belly button the whole way to neck almost.
He
like
slimes her tit.
Hey, I'm not opposed to this. I don't know.
It's the best way to describe what
That
happened.
is that is exactly what happens. It's borderline revolting.
It is gross.
And I said it's kind of played for laughs, but it's pretty revolting. That's
Yeah.
what my notes said. So you think, for a second this whole thing's gonna work, and then he's like, and then he turns down Loretta. He's like, I'm just too busy. What with my plans for world domination,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
we've never talked
yeah.
about to this point. World domination was never on the table until this point. But he does say,
Which again, he might have been saying sarcastically.
right.
So
That's why I was like, did he ever really fall for it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he eventually says, it'll have to be, death by torture as planned.
Yeah.
And
I
again,
like that.
no
I
one's really.
kind of like that comment, honestly. Like, here,
It's very, very everything's very tongue in cheek, kind of up until this point. So he takes him to the home theater where he talks about how he's going to put on these plays with his patients. This is something that goes back generations in his family. The exposition at this point is just like really crazy, but just so entertaining. Myron explains that Loretta is going to be burned at the stake in his performance of Joan of Arc. And these near kind of catatonic prisoners start reciting these like Shakespearean lines. They all have like massive head wounds. It's just fucking ridiculous.
I would love to see a like total world domination by acting.
Yeah.
Like I would like to see that.
Just via drama.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Super
control the
drama.
world with
Like
drama.
you don't know what's real anymore. Wait. Oh my God, we're living in this world, guys. Holy shit.
Coming to some real realizations right now. But yeah, so Myron's got a shock collar on Loretta to get her to say the lines. The prisoner that was playing the priest just cracked me up. Like the inflection in his voice was so great.
It's just so head injury, like stale, and he's like looking forward and down like the whole time.
Yeah.
And he's like, before God and country.
It's like it's like he's reading the words on a piece of paper in his brain,
Right.
kind of thing.
I feel like throughout the entire dialogue when we're talking about like you don't even know it's serious, that I feel like if you could tell, like if they did like change just like their tone slightly, this could have been a horrific movie.
Yeah. They
Like,
played
I don't know if- I
everything
don't know-
for
like,
laughs.
Yeah. I'm like, you can tell, like, I feel like because they went the way they went, like, but this in theory could be a fucking scary
on the scale
movie.
of scary family drama, like this leans far more towards Nothing But Trouble rather than
I
Texas
love
Chainsaw.
nothing but I love nothing but trouble.
Yeah.
Like Texas Chainsaw, where they're all sitting at the dinner table.
Yeah.
That's horrific.
But
This
if
is
you-
just kind of
Yeah.
like, oh, it's
If you remade this, you could take it in a much darker
Oh,
direction.
yeah,
Oh
you
my
can make this
God.
dark
I would
easily,
actually
yeah.
almost love to see that, actually.
Listen, guys, if we can communicate anything on this episode, it's that Head of the Family deserves a remake. Do it. It's on Tubi. Come on. The Tubi production value. There's Tubi bucks.
$2 bucks to have.
That's something we should create. It's like Jeffrey dollars at
bucks.
Toys R Us. But it's Tubi bucks.
Hey, when we
Tubi
start
bucks
sending-
are complete.
when we
Each movie
send-
costs 40 million Tubi bucks.
When we start sending out stickers, we'll start sending out TV bucks.
Sending Tubi bucks. So
Please print that on orange construction paper.
Tubi bucks.
It's on the back of the sticker. It's just like, this is
That-
worth 32 bucks.
if I ever eventually embark on my DJ career, I'm going to be DJ Tubi bucks.
Oh my god. I didn't know this about you, and I'm upset to find this out now, but I love the name.
Oh my!
I will
It's
support
just
you.
playing Oingo Boingo tracks, and I'm DJ Tubi bucks.
Merc and Work opening up for DJ Tubi
Merc
bucks.
and Work. Actually,
Merc
that was going in my back pocket for a hardcore band name. I'm not gonna lie.
God, guys, $1 million fucking ideas. So let's accelerate towards the end here. So
Please.
Myron's. This is longer than the movie now.
The one
It's
thing-
longer than the movie.
Well, we talked about snacks too, but the one thing,
Snack talk went long.
the one thing that really made me
Snack
laugh
time.
though, I don't know. I was laughing when Loretta was getting shocked, and
Yeah.
it was mostly because her southern accent was really coming out, and
Yes.
she started sounding like Brett Butler from Grace Under Fire. Like,
Yeah.
I know that's
Yeah.
it's a very
It
90s
almost
reference.
looks like they could be siblings. Is
Yeah.
that wrong in saying that? I feel
Not-
like they could be
not-
cousins, maybe.
Like, yeah, she could have been like Brett Butler's younger sister, but it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, she was really getting into the, oh, come on. It's just like, come on.
Like,
yes.
she really
she
wanted
is
him.
great. Honestly, she's my favorite person. Like her performances, her like kind of tongue in cheek, like not taking everything serious, like adds to this weird like dream like feel of the movie. I really like
I feel
it.
like she's a character we always come back to throughout this series. Like, she is always somehow part of like every main point of this movie.
What else
Yeah.
is she? I didn't
But,
look
like-
this up. Is she
So-
in other things?
So, yeah. Jacqueline, like, this is one of the great things about full moon films, especially
yeah.
kind of back in the 90s,
Yeah.
is they kind of gave a jumping off point, or they gave legitimate work to porn stars.
Yeah.
And so
That's cool.
the lady who played Jacqueline, or the lady who played Loretta, is Jacqueline Lavelle, also known as Sarah St. James. You can go
Oh
look that
yes,
up
yes,
on
yes.
your own time.
I've looked. Okay, so
oh.
I do know that now that you say this. This sounds
Wow.
very familiar.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So, but like, you know, she was able to change her name to Jacqueline Lavelle,
Okay.
and that was able to open up more things for her.
Cool. That's awesome, though.
The lady
Makes
who
me
plays
happy.
Ernestina, she's credited in this movie as Diana Colazzo, but she's also better known as Alexandria Quinn. And just a quick reading of some of her choice IMDb.
Yeah.
Ass Opener 6. Twin Cheek.
Six is the icing on the cake.
Twin Cheeks 2 through 4.
Twin cheeks. Oh my
Guys,
god!
why don't I
love
know
porn.
about twin
I'm
cheeks?
laughing, but I'm loving like because I love it so much. I
Yeah.
love porn titles.
Why
so
do I not?
fucking
I assume
much.
this is a Twin Peaks parody.
Sure.
Fuck
has to
yeah.
be.
It is.
Why have I not
Because-
seen Twin Cheeks?
Because she was
Why
also
do I not have a tattoo of Twin Cheeks?
she was also in Edward Penis Hands.
I know.
Edward
I've seen
Penis
Edward
Right.
Penis
Oh my
Hands.
She's in that. Ass Openers 11. Or I'm sorry, 15. My bad.
She took some movies off.
5 and listen, 5 through 10 was like the Friday 3
Right.
and 4 of the
Yeah, and
franchise.
she came- she came back
was
for the
basically-
final
yeah,
ass
yeah,
openers.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The final ass opener.
She was in the Blowjob Adventures of Dr. Fellatio 22,
What?
Lesbian Hooter Party,
I like that.
and
I
then
like that.
Scooby-Doo Curse of the Lake Monster.
That sounds too serious. That sounds like a real thing.
It
No,
is.
that's
I've
that's
seen it.
legit.
Yeah.
That's legit. One
Like
of
a
her
porn
latest.
or like an actual movie?
No, that's
No,
one of her
it's an
That's
legit.
animated.
She was,
it's like the witch. It's like the Scooby Doo and the Witch's Curse or whatever. Like it's
Yeah,
one of
What
those
the
like
fuck?
hour-ish
That's funny.
long
Yeah, she's a
features.
That's
legit voice on Scooby-Doo
Oh
Well,
movie.
my
I'm,
God.
Well, I mean, she's.
What was the
I mean,
Hooters one
let's
again?
Be
Lesbian
real.
Hooter Party?
Porn
Hooter
stars are
Party.
also somewhat voice actors. Am I wrong? Am I wrong here? Porn stars are also voice actors.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
down,
yeah.
You can cross whatever. You
Oh
know.
God, I want to
I
have a
mean,
Hooter
it takes
party.
a lot to fake it.
Right,
Trust me, I know.
I want to have a Hooter party, guys.
right. Those are the best title names. But she has a lot. She actually has a lot that are seemed like parodies of like horror movies.
Did you take the last piece
took
of the wet meat? God
did.
damn it! Good thing I have a case in my trunk.
Good thing there's thousands in Get-Go's across America.
I know. There's 5 places within
Yeah,
walking distance
right.
of my house that sell this.
Legit. Not only are people going to get a sticker, They're gonna get some wet meat.
Yeah.
And what was the other thing we were gonna give them? That I
Oh,
just
Tubi bucks.
Tubi bucks.
Tubi bucks.
Which
Tubi
are
bucks?
have no value.
Yeah.
What?
$2 and Necco wafers.
Any movie on
And Necco
Tubi, you
wafers.
redeem it for any movie on Tubi.
Yeah.
Which is
So
already free.
here's an incentive to write us a review. We haven't talked about this at all.
Oh yes,
We'll
yes.
talk about that
We'll
next
announce it next time because we got some stickers. I'm gonna figure out how to print some Tubi bucks, and we're gonna send them your way. You write a review, you like, comment, subscribe, do
Stickers,
whatever the fuck
Tubi
you do
bucks,
to a podcast.
Wet meat, Necco wafers. We're gonna send you shit.
Breakfast of Champions. That's fantastic. I'm so happy we delved into that.
We can't send Necco wafers in the mail like a normal envelope. That becomes
they
a
weigh
package.
almost nothing and they never melt. So they we could probably actually make an envelope out of Necco wafers and ship it. And it would be like probably an envelope would be tastier, but so so Lance he refuses to give up the other lawyer, yada yada. As expected, Otis kind of loses it, saves Loretta before she's about to get burned at the stake like Joan of Arc on the stage. Lance fights Wheeler and pokes him in the eyes, which I thought was pretty comical. And then Loretta kind of briefly interacts with Howard, and he's in the basement. He's missing an eye. He's like very submissive.
He's super
now.
docile and
it
cool.
Kind of you're kind of like, oh, Howard, like at his heart, was he an okay guy?
No,
no, he's a prick.
He's just had parts of his brain removed, and now he's chill.
In order to be chill, we need to cut out parts of your brain.
Yeah. He's
So
just
you're
like-
probably not a cool guy.
He's just like, what's going on, Lance?
Yeah, and he's like, I gotta go, Howard, and he's
Yeah,
like, all right,
"All right,
see you
see you later."
around. He's just super chill, dude.
As if he like just saw him on the street. He's like, oh hey,
Yeah,
neighbor.
yeah. It was just like, yeah.
Neighbor.
I look over. Meg's now wearing sunglasses.
Well, they keep falling off my head, so now I'm just wearing them.
I love just how Meg gets 1 beer, she eats all the wet meats. 2 beers, sunglasses. 3 beers, hanging vertical suplex. So as far as I can tell, Otis shuts off this is the only part I didn't understand. Otis shuts off the vents because he's like, house burn, and he
Yeah.
kind of like, is it that he shuts off the vents Myron mentions that are going to prevent the house from catching on fire?
Yeah.
Because is that what he does? He
Yeah,
sets
yeah.
off the vent. Okay, that's kind of what I took it as, and I didn't even remember that part because I think at
Pussy
this,
girl.
yeah, and he wants to, he wants, he's going to save Loretta. He wants to kind of burn down the house, and then maybe the best scene in the movie. Lance launches Myron because Lance gets away. Obviously, Myron is now, his siblings are scattered around. He has no power. Lance dumps Myron down the stairs and he launches this giant big-headed dummy down the stairs and lands at the bottom, kind of all bloodied. And it's a slow motion fall. It's fantastic.
I like how
As the
when
kid,
No.
as the kids say, he yeeted him down the stairs.
he yeeted it.
He yeeted him down the stairs.
Yeet.
Yeah.
Does yeet have a meaning? Because I feel like yeet's one of those words
Yeet
that
is
means
from
so
like
many.
not a TikTok. Was it like a Vine or something
Yeah.
of like some girl throwing a can in the
Yeah.
hallway or something?
Yeah.
She's like, this shit empty. Yeet. She throws the can down. Or this bitch empty. Yeet.
No, what I loved is that like there wasn't like a lot of tumble and roll. He just like fell and he had all his blood all over his
Yeah.
mouth.
Mhm.
But I feel like the blood looked really good. Is that weird to say? No, it's not. I'm gonna say
No,
it
I mean
looked
he was
really good.
beat up. He was at the bottom of the stairs. Like the overall, like the makeup effects in this movie are like pretty good. I mean, the eyes, Wheeler's eyes are pretty bad, but like,
Right.
I feel like
The
Myron.
lobotomy stuff is good. Yeah.
Yeah, and Myron, I don't know how they get this. Like, it's like a forced perspective thing to a certain extent on Myron. I think.
Yeah. I think it depends on the kind of the shot. So I think the main one that like when they're in the basement and it's like Lance is on the table and Loretta's on the ground and like everybody.
Yeah.
I think that one was actually like maybe a green screen because it seems like
The body seems independent a little bit.
yeah, I think the whole thing is Myron is like masked in afterwards.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
So he's made bigger. Like he was filmed separately.
There's a
Oh,
lot of ones
interesting.
when he's in the wheelchair like that, but I felt like the one in the basement was like a little puppet below his head, maybe for at least for a second, maybe because it was a little bit more seamless than the other ones, and it struck me as like, do you remember the Nickelodeon show Wienerville?
Yeah.
Where they had like it reminded me a little bit like Wienerville.
Yeah.
In the thing, but yeah, it overall I thought the effects, especially on Myron, are pretty cool. I mean, he's the eye-catching thing, right, of the movie. So here's where Lance falls victim to his kind of opportunism, and this is when I was like, oh, he just can't resist Ernestina. Well, at this point, Myron is completely incapacitated, and Ernestina lures him kind of away. So you're like, is Myron still controlling this or not? Or is this just Lance being a dickhead?
Right.
It probably is the latter. I don't know. But this gets kind of weirdly brutal for a quick second because Wheeler runs up on him and just like shivs him like he's in a prison yard, like
I thought
20
Wheeler was
times with a
done
knife.
after like he almost seemed like after his eyes were exposed the first time that like shit was like he was not going to be okay. So like I thought like that was really weird that we had that resurgence for him.
He pops
like,
back up. You think he's done.
Yeah.
He pops back up. He prison shivs Lance. Then Lance shoves him down. He hits his head on the bars, and they're both presumably kind of out cold or dead or,
but then
or both.
he like kills someone else and then he dies. It's kind of like he's a bee.
I think the idea
He's a fucking wasp.
It's a wasp. In more ways than one. But in any case, so now Otis and Loretta are the only ones who get out of the house, and they're kind of standing outside watching it burn. She's obviously not too broken up about Lance. She's just like, well, he was kind of a dickhead or whatever.
Right.
You know,
She knew they were both fucking assholes.
she didn't care. This is where her like kind of very, very opportunistic and this ending is so fucking brilliant. So Loretta gets the bright idea and kind of explains that she wants to marry Otis for the Stackpool fortune. He's the last remaining Stackpool.
And this is when House of a Thousand Corpses starts. Like,
yes, and
okay,
this is the prequel leading into House of a Thousand Corpses. But she kind of cut to them at the Justice of the Peace. She's kind of railroading him into marriage.
Right.
Obviously, Otis doesn't have Myron controlling him anymore. He's just kind of this big like goon that's not really like capable of speaking too much. And the will you accept him as man and wife, blah, blah, blah. I do. And he just goes, ooh, which I thought was such a weird. They didn't have to do that. And then Loretta explains, happy endings. It's going to be happy ending. Blah blah blah. This big chuckle, and then it finishes with Otis having this insane, crazy eye cackle, and Loretta starts to get freaked out. Like, did I make a mistake? Kind of thing.
Right.
And then it's just Finn. Mwah.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss. I just love that
it's
ambiguous
such a chef's
ending.
kiss because I feel like ultimately everything that everyone does in this movie is an utter mistake in every way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want to watch a movie about what not to do in life, watch this movie.
It's a bunch of people who are shitbirds, and they get what's coming to them in some way.
No one comes out scot-free. There's no really redeemable character, maybe with the exception of Susie, the waitress.
Oh yeah, but she doesn't get involved in.
She's
just doesn't
inconsequential.
She's the
Yeah.
smart one. She is like the smart one.
But
of it.
she's at least like, Lance, you're being an asshole. You're gonna fuck yourself, kind of thing. So she's like the voice of reason a little bit. But
I feel like the idea of the family still is like one of those things that like anyone, which I mean, I think of things like we've talked about multiple times, House of a Thousand Corpses almost has this vibe of like, yeah, let's do this family vibe. Like I could totally see it if Rob Zombie like watched these movies and was like,
yeah,
maybe.
I read that this was supposed to be almost like a take off the Munsters in a way.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
So like, and then obviously Rob Zombie's really into that kind of shit.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. I mean, I feel like all of that can be because I feel like that idea of like that tie that binds, like could totally be a thing that can then be like we're going to stay together no matter what is like the creepiest thing personally that I feel like I could feel because like I mean when now exposing like I'm not super close to a lot of my family, but at the same time like I can understand though that if you would do any fucking thing for your family,
right?
Yeah, she can get fucking weird.
There
real
could
fast.
absolutely be a sequel to this, and
Totally could be.
And as far as I know, there isn't.
No. Yeah, which is strange considering Full
I
Moon
really
makes
hope
8
out of
sequels
this
for everything.
episode
They
that
will
we
put a few-
fucking get a sequel. Let's fucking keep our fingers crossed.
Hashtag where's the sequel, guys?
Charles Band is going to put the back burner on Evil Bong 8 to make Head of Family
or
Head of the
Ginger
Family
Deadman 47. Gary Busey, is he still in there? Isn't Gary Busey still in those? I don't know. We'll talk about it.
I didn't even watch the one. I'll tell you what. I did kind of wish that there was an alternate ending to this, and I envisioned like a Beverly Hillbillies ending to this.
Okay,
where after Otis and Loretta leave the mansion. Smash cut to them inside of an actual like Beverly Hillbillies mansion.
Yeah.
That's like in California. Everything's bright, lit like a sitcom. And Otis is just sitting behind a desk, stamping papers, just randomly approved. Like he's got a nice suit on. He's got his hair cut and everything.
He's got his hair slicked
He's a
back.
Stagborn.
Yeah, he's just a business guy, just stamping
Stackpole
approved.
Industries.
Yeah. And then Loretta comes in a bathing suit. And she's got a bathing suit and the big sun hat and the sunglasses. She's all posh and everything.
Yeah.
And she says, "Okay, time to go." And then you see Otis stand up. He's Winnie the Poohing it and just has giant, like 13 inches of like just meat.
But then I feel like he pulls
there's
out a
so many
cleaver and they go
directions.
and kill someone. Oh my god, this is insane.
There is endless possibilities.
Endless.
Charles
Endless.
Band. I'm
not gonna
pray
hey,
Charles
hey,
Band is
hey,
listening
Brian,
to this.
Hey Brian.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna swear you this time. I'm not gonna tell you.
Listen, guys,
To go.
I am a right and
yourself.
just champion. I have
did
delivered
not,
and
I feel like it's one of those movies that I'm like, I'm not upset that I like spent 120 minutes
guys.
on.
And this is just,
Not
and
terrible.
guys, could I have a sidebar with the listener? I'm going to fuck these motherfuckers up next time. I'm luring them into a false sense of security.
Hey, listeners, I'm gonna do another sidebar my way.
All right, hold on. Me and Steve will earmuffs.
Yeah.
If he gets a chance, motherfuckers.
That seems like it was directed towards me.
Listeners,
I
just
use
want you to know-
plural. I use an S on the end.
listeners, I just want you to know that if I do win September, I still have a punishment in my back pocket, and
I'm
we'll hurt them.
genuinely terrified of
We'll hurt
Steve.
them bad.
I feel like you guys like have all the punches, and I'm just like, I'll probably just bring something incestual to the table.
Yeah, Meg, that's Meg's play. Just incest.
Meg is just
Meg
gonna
already punished us.
Meg is gonna
Yeah.
make us watch Twin Cheeks 4. Is what she's gonna do.
Why are we watching porn, Meg? What the fuck?
Oh
Oh,
my
shit.
God. Well, it was fun. I'm glad I picked this one. I hadn't seen it in a long time. It's a blast from the past for sure. And hopefully we'll visit some more full moon features here in the
For
in
sure.
the future.
We
but-
should probably finish out and just like let people know what else we drink because I started cracking some bars.
Yeah, we got through some beers. I'm drinking this IPA from Clearview West Coast IPA from. I'm sorry, no, it's
Sun
Clearview West
River.
Coast IPA from Sun River. Sun River's
Yes,
the brewery, not
yes.
Clearview,
One of
Sun
my
River.
best friends, Liz, works at Sun River, so I brought that from my visit. I also brought another Wayfinder beer, if y'all are even surprised. But
haven't
I
got
had
that
that
far.
cold IPA that I was like,
Oh,
we need
yeah,
to drink
that's right.
this, and it's like a thing. It's not really a thing, but it's a thing. Drink a cold IPA.
It's a gimmick.
It's delicious.
but-
It is totally a gimmick. And like talking to Kevin, it was one of those things. He's like, yeah, we put cold in there and we sold more IPA.
It's just a repackage of a
like-
brewed IPA, essentially. Is
no,
that kind of
it's
what
not
it is?
even. It's not even that. It's really not even that. It's literally just a less hoppy West Coast IPA.
Oh, it's less. I thought it was just like supposed to be like dry.
No,
and-
it's actually
Watch-
closer to like an IPL.
Yeah, like.
Oh yes, yes,
But
yes,
it's
You're
not
right. Yeah,
at
right.
all at the same time. Like in like a lot of ways, like it reminds me more of a less hoppy West Coast IPA that's filtered.
It's a
Yeah.
lot less bitter than I expected.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
it is a
It's
less
less
hoppy,
less
like
bitter.
more of like a hazy IPA that's like filtered.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cold IPA thing, I saw it like
but
on the
he even told
Twitters
me
and
he knows
things.
it's a gimmick. It's
and
a
was
fucking
just
thing.
like, oh, that's the thing, okay. And I remember like look at like, what is this supposed to be? And then I kind of promptly forgot about it.
Yeah.
But that's an enjoyable beer.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
I
hate that.
also grabbed Southern Tier's Nice Slice, which, if anyone doesn't know yet, if I didn't mention it, like that's where I got my, that's where my roots are from, and I got my start there. So I
that
I
traditional Scottish brewery,
Yeah.
Southern Tier.
Traditional Scottish brewery
Just turned into
Southern
Scrooge
Tier.
McDuck.
You know, Southern
I
Tier
gra-
and their Pumpkin King.
Pudding King. Oh,
And the Warlock.
okay, stop making me laugh. I grabbed Nice Slice because My aunt told me to drink it.
It smells like a watermelon Jolly Rancher. That's what it
No,
smells like.
I feel like what I'm getting out of beers like that is like, I'm like, I wish it was sour. I
Yeah.
wish you had like a tart aspect to it. It's a good beer. It's like, it's fine. It's good. It's like, it's good. But like, I wish it was tart. That's it.
Yeah. If for some reason you can't find 21st Amendment's Hell or High watermelon,
I haven't had that
just pick up the nice
in
slice.
years.
Yes,
and
yes,
that
yes,
one
same
almost
thing,
has
yeah.
like a more watermelon rind cucumbery
Mhm.
type of
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
whereas this smells like candy watermelon.
It is a lot sweeter
Yeah.
and candy-ier.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
only smelled it. I haven't tasted it. So.
All right, boys.
All right.
Let's
Well,
fucking
let's
wrap this
remind you of
shit
a
up.
couple of things. One is we are going to send out sometime this week. You are going to see a call to action. Come vote on what our next showdown episode is going to be for September. Again, to remind you, modern slashers. This is 2000s to present. Giallo or best Child's Play / Chucky of any kind, maker, manner. So excited for those three. Check it out on the Instagram. It's before I forget, because I already forgot at the top of the episode once again, at Halloween is Forever on Instagram, at Hallow Forever on Twitter, Halloween is Forever podcast on Facebook, or HalloweensForeverPod@gmail.com if you want to send an email.
Just remember that, like, depending on what you choose, it will be indicative of what kind of wrestling move. You hear that?
That's the atomic elbow.
That I'm going to put on Brian and or Steve.
Listen, I've been stretching and I've been practicing my jackknife power bombs. And I swear to God, this table is going to be in 1,000 little splinters.
Yo, we need to come. We're gonna be the Halloween Mafia, and we're gonna be breaking tables.
We're going to be out here off my garage roof, Hell in the Cell style.
Guys, stop fighting amongst each other. We got to take the HWO into other podcasts.
That's true. That's true.
Maybe that's the legit move, guys.
All right. We're getting ahead of ourselves, guys. I think this has got to be our longest Minisode of all time. But
Is it
listen,
longer than the last
no,
one?
not too bad. Good,
No.
good.
Nah, we're pretty good.
Good.
We just talked a lot prior.
Yeah.
I think people are.
We just talked a lot of snacks early on.
Oh my God, so many snacks.
People seem to
I
like
like
to hear us
snack
talk.
session, guys. I like snack session.
I say snack session needs to be part of every recording. I'm on board. Maybe next time somebody else can subject us to something terrible. I don't trust you at all. You seem very excited
Fuck
about
you.
it.
Why? I'm not scared of what Meg can bring.
I love snacks. Like,
All right, Meg's on snack duty next
I
time.
love snacks.
Meg's on
I
snack
will bring
duty.
snacks.
I'm-
Yeah, that's
not
true.
sc-
It wasn't that hard. We
I'm
didn't
a
give you.
snacky girl.
I'm not.
I love your little shuffle you did just now.
I'm not scared of what she could bring because she's not like that into hot foods.
She's not as much of a garbage person as I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah. Like I would be worried about
No,
me.
no.
Yeah.
But what I appreciate about every
You're
single
gonna be
time.
soaking Slim Jims and Steel Reserve Blackberry or something.
I got to. They're getting rid of it.
I heard it's discontinued.
It's so sad.
What I love about every time you bring snacks is you're like, let me see how hot things can
It's gonna get more
because
extreme.
Megan said that she's trying. You know what? I appreciate it. Maybe I'll bring a hot snack. No, probably not. I'll probably bring something delicious. So fuck you both, and you're welcome.
Fuck you both,
Give
and
me-
you're welcome. That's
me the
next
Slim
sign
Jim.
off.
Right.
Next time, fuck you both, and you're welcome. Well,
Give me the Slim Jim.
yeah, we have another here. This is all
I
yours.
know. I actually was like, I
Here,
want to ask.
eat it. I already
for
had
this.
one today.
I want to ask for this, but I didn't.
Eat it up. All right. Well, again, look for on the social medias. Vote on our next episode for the main showdown episode. But in the meantime, we got some pretty sweet stuff happening in minisodes in the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out. As always, send us anything via the social media channels or via email. If you got any suggestions for us, we got a couple of good ones. We had someone request that we talk about the new Nick Cage one with the
Willy's Wonderland.
Willy's
I wanna
Wonderland,
watch Pig.
which I haven't seen yet. So I
good.
think that one might be a fun one to do.
I approve.
We've got a lot.
Yeah,
We've got a
yeah,
lot
I
of
really
cool
wanna watch it.
suggestions. So keep us coming our way because we are legitimately not planning to. We're going to have some guests in the coming
Yep.
episodes. We've got some filmmakers, some actors, some other fun stuff. How's that? It's a Slim Jim treating you pretty good. It's good. It builds on you. The heat builds on you. I got that earlier. Had one of those earlier today. In any
okay,
case, keep those suggestions coming because we freaking love it and we're going to continue to utilize it. So awesome. Once again, for Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
Bye. Bye.